My name is Kala, Arvind Kala. Among the world's politicians, if a poll was to be taken, India's politicians would have the worst bodies. Now look at somebody like Gadkari or Amit Shah. I mean, bloated bodies, including Mr. Modi and all those politicians, Uma Bharti or Lalu Yadav or Mulayam Singh, all these fellows, they all have bloated bodies. The reason comes down to actually India's vegetarianism. India is the only vegetarian country in the world. And now let me explain that. Forget all those polls which show that 60%, 70% eat meat. Yes, they eat meat once a month or once in 2 months or 3 months. If they go out, they have a tandoori chicken or whatever. That's not a fellow eats meat, flesh food 3 times a year, doesn't become a. He, in his dictionary, he's a non vegetarian, but actually he's a vegetarian. A meat eater everywhere outside or anywhere in my dictionary also is somebody who eats meat every day or every second day and substantial. It's a portion of his diet, which is not so in India. In India, you see, this is the only vegetarian country, and as I said, and there is a something. People are vegetarians are somewhat sanctimonious. You know that there's virtue in not killing an animal and eating it, etc., etc. But the sad thing is that apart from politicians, Indians must be the weakest people physically in the world, easily. Now, you look at our lifespan, for instance. When you do not have meat, you do not have strength because you don't get enough protein. Now, vegetarians think they get enough proteins from dals, etc., etc. No, dals do not offer complete protein because there's one thing about protein that you must understand. It consists of, you need nine essential amino acids, and those are present only in flesh food. Fish, chicken, pork, mutton, red meat. So those are the foodstuffs, and you need protein for cellular growth, for body repair, etc., etc. So that's why Indians actually die early. You look at the lifespan here in India. Forget about politicians for a moment. Say 69 or something, males live. 72 females live. In China, the lifespan is 78. In America is 79. So we are 8 years, 9 years, and 9 years behind. And all across the board in India, people are very weak. I don't think Nitin Gadkari can go for a 3 kilometer walk, or Amit, this guy who's the Shah, Amit Shah. They look absolutely unfit. I remember Swaraj Chauhan, Swaraj, that lady minister or whatever, or Jaitley. They all had bloated bodies, and all that. If you look at an RSS parade, you find the worst bodies there. All paunchy people, and they go when men grow old and they grow paunchy. What happens is they start developing ugly breasts also. So all those RSS guys and etc., all of them, they're very ugly. Their bodies don't have strength. And if your body doesn't have strength, you die early, which explains the poor lifespan in India. Now, if you look at the highest lifespans in India, it's in Kerala, where a man lives for 73 and a woman lives for 79. In Kashmir, the places which have meat-based diets, fish or whatever, they eat more flesh food than the hinterland. And the lowest lifespans are in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, etc., which are the highest vegetarian states. So that is the reality. One thing we don't understand, and it's something worth repeating. We have this idea of, you'll find this idiot vegetarian saying, if vegetarian food is not good enough, how come an elephant only is vegetable food and is the mightiest animal? Damn it, we are not, you, me, we are not elephants, na? And we are not rhinoceros. We are not a rhinoceros, which also lives on, which is what you call vegetarian. There's a word for it, omnivorous or something like that. I don't know. So Now, the reason I talk of meat, which is people very often they forget, agriculture is the food we eat, grains and rice and dals, etc., and domestication of animals. This happened only 10,000 years ago. But our bodies, human beings have been around 200,000 years, 200,000 years. So, how did they get their food earlier? For 190,000 years, they hunted animals for food, chasing them and then cooking them, because fire was discovered 500,000 years ago. So that's how they lived, and that's how Indians also lived in India before agriculture. Now, India was the first country to be inhabited after the African continent. We've been here 65,000 years. So, for 55,000 years, our ancestors also hunted animals for food. Otherwise, they could not have survived. This is the truth. I mean, who created Hinduism? Is 3-4 thousand years old, but there were people who were living here before, isn't it? Look at the Harappa and Indus Valley civilization, which existed 10,000 years ago, from Pakistan to Madhya Pradesh to various sites in Haryana, etc. They were absolutely big meat eaters. They were carnivorous, because all those fossils and everything there suggest that there was no kind of animal they did not eat. So this is but here, when vegetarianism began maybe 3,000, 4,000 years ago, this vegetarian thing came in. And that's why we are easily the weakest people. Let's drop politicians for a moment. Now look at our performance. We paint ourselves as soldiers, etc., etc. Look at how the strength of a nation comes from the Olympic medals it wins. No, we won one gold medal in the last Olympics. China won 38. We won a total of seven medals. China won 89. You forget about China, you see a country like New Zealand, a tiny little country. It had seven golds, six gold, six, seven. We had one. They had 20 medals on the whole, and we had seven medals on the whole. And do you know, my friends, what the population of New Zealand is? The population of New Zealand is one fourth the population of Delhi. It's just 500 million people, and they win 20 medals, and we end up winning seven. This is our disgrace, because we vegetarians just don't have this goddamn strength. We die early. We do nothing in these wars, etc. And I see our patriotic Indian soldiers, bravehearts, as those Chinese are a bunch of sissies wiggling their butts on the border. I've seen UFC. I'm a fanatical fan of kickboxing, and I've seen the Chinese boxers against Indian boxers, fighters. They make mincemeat of Indian fighters, yeah. So this is the and the very bad bodies. So I would urge Mr. Modi and all these people to adopt a non-vegetarian diet. Because you need strength. Now Mr. Modi's shoulders have shrunk, his arms have become spindly. I'm sure his thighs are kind of thin also. His calves, you can make out. And health is something. If a person looks weak, he is weak. It's as simple as that. And if a person looks strong, he is strong. Look at Rishi Sunak, 42, very erect like anything. Kejriwal also has a bloated body. He's a bania. Yeah, I don't think he eats meat, etc. So his whole body is also bloated. That is what these guys do. They should start eating meat, because you do not get protein from vegetarian food, and protein you need for longevity. Because all these things, you have to combine different dals, etc., and it comes with Modi what he eats, khichdi, etc. So that doesn't give you enough, and doklas, etc. They don't give you nutrition. So that is why all of them have very very bad bodies. RSS, you look at them, there's a they're solidly vegetarian, not solidly, maybe even fanatically, and I can understand that, because though I am a regular staunch meat eater for reasons of health, and also it tastes damn good, yeah, mutton, etc., etc. It's I come from a vegetarian family, so I can understand their aversion to to non-vegetarian, to flesh food, and they would never touch it. And so be it. I mean, but they just have very very bad bodies. Indians have very bad bodies. That's all. That's how that's why the longevity here is pathetic. And it's the meat eating states where the longevity is the best. In Kerala, for instance. Well, friends, I talk a lot of sense. So subscribe to my channel if you can, if you're watching this on YouTube, and please forward it to everybody. You got friends, etc., etc. So I'll bid you farewell. See you later, alligator.